The curriculum model being presented is the Universal Design for Learning. In this presentation, we will cover the background and history of Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, key components, UDL in today's classroom, video clips, references, resources, and an opportunity for you to take notes during this presentation using the guided notes document attached to this Blackboard post. Let's begin. The history of UDL. Ron Mace of North Carolina State University envisioned universal design as a means to promote the design of products and environments that would appeal to all people, yet meet the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. These principles established a framework for developing design standards that permit the greatest degree of access and usability for the widest range of individuals. Many schools began to embrace this philosophy of inclusion by physically including students with disabilities in the classroom. However, this did not ensure equal access to the general curriculum or opportunities for students with disabilities to benefit from what the school curriculum offered. Typical curriculum in schools tends to take a one-size-fits-all approach, which is evidenced by the strong emphasis on textbook instruction. Founded in 1984 as the Center for Applied Special Technology, or CAST, has earned international recognition for its development of innovative, technology-based educational resources and strategies. CAST applied the concept of universal design to a framework for curriculum reform in education. Based on brain research, the Universal Design for Learning concept focused on providing flexibility in curriculum so the diversity of learners found in today's schools would have access and opportunity to learning that would meet individual needs. By applying UDL, educators can minimize barriers and provide supports and challenges appropriate for each learner. Recognition, strategic, and effective. In the cortex of the brain, there are three primary networks specialized in processing and managing learning tasks. The recognition network is located at the back of the brain. Recognition is the what of learning, which is how we identify words, phrases, and letters. Recognition also includes how we gather facts and categorize what we can see, hear, and read. Strategic is the how of learning and is located at the front left part of the brain. It is about the way we organize and express our individual ideas. Strategic also includes planning and performing tasks. Some examples of strategic are the way you plan out an essay or the strategy you use to solve a math equation. Effective is the why of learning, or the way that learners are able to stay engaged and motivated to learn. Accessibility and UDL. Access to computers have become much more common in schools, so now text can be easily enlarged, simplified, summarized, highlighted, translated, converted to speech, graphically represented, and supported through accessible digital materials to meet the needs of everyone and make things simpler. Since access to computers has become more common, students can use Universal Design for Learning, which will only enhance the students' learning experience and make them more well-rounded students. People with disabilities will also get the same opportunity to get the best learning. This ensures the best outcome for all learners and eliminates the barrier to academic success for everyone. Most importantly, technology is best utilized if the UDL foundation is set first. Technology is not the choice and solution for all, but the choice and solution for some. Key components of the UDL curriculum. We have goals, methods, materials, and assessments. Goals are often described as learning expectations. They represent the knowledge, concepts, and skills all students should master and are generally aligned to the standards. Within the UDL framework, goals themselves are articulated in a way that acknowledges learner variability and differentiates goals from means. These qualities enable teachers of UDL curricula to offer more options and alternatives, vary pathways, tools, strategies, and scaffolds for reaching mastery. Methods are generally defined as the instructional decisions, approaches, procedures, or routines that expert teachers use to accelerate or enhance learning. Expert teachers apply evidence-based methods and differentiate those methods according to the goal of instruction. UDL curricula facilitate further differentiation of methods based on learner variability in the context of the task, learners' social emotional resources, and the classroom climate. Flexible and varied, UDL methods are adjusted based on continual monitoring of learner progress. Materials are usually seen as the media used to present learning content and what the learner uses to demonstrate knowledge. Within the UDL framework, the hallmark of materials is their variability and flexibility. UDL materials offer tools and supports needed to access, analyze, organize, synthesize, and demonstrate understanding in varied ways. For engaging with learning, UDL materials offer alternative pathways to success, including choice of content where appropriate, varied levels of support and challenge, and options for recruiting and sustaining interest and motivation. Assessment is described as the process of gathering information about a learner's performance using a variety of methods and materials in order to determine learners' knowledge, skills, and motivation for the purpose of making informed educational decisions. This is achieved in part by keen focus on the goal and distinct from the means enabling the provision of supports and scaffolds for construct irrelevant items. By broadening means to accommodate learner variability, UDL assessments reduce or remove barriers to accurate measure of learner knowledge, skills, and engagement. Now let's watch a short video clip of an administrator sharing her experiences observing UDL in the classroom.
When I think about universal design for learning and how we apply it, one of the most interesting things is seeing it in the classroom. And seeing a class that is designed around universal design for learning is interactive. It's not always quiet. It's not always one way. And what we have is a cohort of teachers that are telling me, come in whenever you want. So it wasn't designed as, okay, this is a class that we're going to use UDL in, and you're going to come in and see it. They say open door policy, come in. So I've gone into math classrooms, and I've gone into, at the middle school, and I've gone to math classrooms at the high school, and I've gone into elementary classrooms and English language arts classrooms. And the students truly, as designed by the principals of UDL, are engaged. And that's just exciting for me as a central office administrator to know that this is impacting our students in a really meaningful, fun way.
UDL in today's classroom. Here's a great example of self-advocacy in an environment that welcomes UDL. As we start a new school year, Mr. Smith, I just want you to know that I'm an abstract sequential learner and trust that you'll conduct yourself accordingly. It is common to see UDL as an approach for supporting children with special needs. In fact, in the reauthorization of IDEA in 2004, it was written that the state educational agency, or in the case of a district-wide assessment, the local educational agency, shall, to the extent feasible, use universal design principles in developing and administering any assessments under this paragraph. However, researchers and practitioners of UDL have been working to demonstrate how teachers and educational systems can use UDL to create a curriculum in which all students can learn and succeed across all levels. The literature suggests effectiveness of UDL not only in elementary, but middle and high school as well. As previously mentioned, we know UDL emphasizes on changing the way we plan and set goals, how we instruct and assess, and how we develop methods to support and allow students to engage with content materials. In planning for learners with a range of skills, strengths, weaknesses, teachers need to analyze what is the intent or purpose behind the goals they set. This becomes relevant to teachers today as they determine what is the most important information all students need to know. Then teachers must provide instruction in a variety of ways to support students' different learning styles. This can be done by reading a novel, watching a video, acting out a play, or providing a visual or chart. Finally, teachers should allow their students to engage with the lesson using different approaches, encouraging them to take ownership of what they are learning. For example, they can allow students to select text from an array of books on the same topic for guided reading. Now let's bring together what we have learned about UDL to examine a brief case study. This particular situation is adapted from a case study in Practical Reader and Universal Design for Learning text by Rosenmeyer. In this case, we have a first grade teacher with a classroom of 21 students total. In her class, she has 4 children who have a diagnosis of ADD or ADHD, 4 who are below level readers with difficulty in decoding, 2 who are gifted and have demonstrated above average reading skills, and about half who have shown a preference for hands-on learning. The teacher for the class, Ms. Smith, always takes a little time at the start of a new unit to think about her students, their strengths and needs, and how she will ensure that they are all engaged in gaining new knowledge effectively. The next unit is on living things, and Ms. Smith is preparing herself by asking herself these questions. What is the basic idea? Is a test the best way? What options can I provide? What are some strategies you would implement to address these questions? Take a few seconds to write down any ideas that you may have. In addressing her unit on living things, some of the ways Ms. Smith addressed her students' learning was by integrating science readings during literacy of varying levels, allowing her students to examine the books independently and during guided reading, providing audio recordings of book narration so students could follow along while pointing to words, using technology to scan book text and pictures using software that reads, creating a virtual book that students could use, as well as several other strategies that proved successful in helping all students successfully engage with the lesson and demonstrate mastery of the key goals. Were any of these similar to your ideas? Here are some of our references that we used for this presentation. Now we're going to take a look at a short video set in Canada, but still relevant, where students, teachers, and administrators talk about the implementation and benefits of UDL in their school.
For us, inclusive practice is really about each child every day, no exceptions. And our strategy for doing that is built around the personalization of learning.
We're coming at it from a universal design for learning perspective, asking the questions, what is it that we can do for that student to be successful in class? Tailoring the lesson, tailoring the assessment, tailoring what's learned for them.
Can you show me how you would wriggle?
Are they movers? Are they verbal thinkers? Are they visual thinkers? Like, you just gotta teach to that kid. For instance, Shoaib loves Spider-Man in grade 1. So I made his word problem Spider-Man, and I made his stories. Oh, you want to write a story about Spider-Man? Go ahead.
Change it 50 times. Using cameras, using iPods, smartboards. Giving students a chance to choose how they can best express what they know.
I can't read as fast as others, right? So they'll take it into a tape recorder and read it out. They'll put it on the iPod, so I can listen to it through earbuds. Them reading the test, and I can rewind it, pause it, play back. It's really cool.
Now, because of the technology that is available, you don't know if someone is using a laptop because they have a learning disability or they're just using a laptop.
We have great teachers and great educational assistants. Through differentiation, they're trying to differentiate in 3 areas: the content, what is it the students are going to be learning; the process, how are they going to go about learning it; and the product. For some
As we conclude this presentation, we'd like for you to complete the follow-up activity and post your comments on Blackboard. The directions for that are at the end of the guided notes document. We'd like to thank you for your time and attention to learning about Universal Design for Learning. Thank you.